Hi everyone, welcome. It's Friday. We're talking about volume of pyramids today. So welcome to the desert, right? Picture the pyramids. And this is the shape that we're talking about, right? This is what if you hear the word pyramids, I'm assuming you think of the Great Pyramids. This is exactly the kind of shape that we are going to find the volume of. Before we start, let's do a little review of the past couple of days. Wednesday and Thursday we learned about we were in our whole section of 3D shapes, right? That's what this week has been about. Three-dimensional shapes. This was called a rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. Cube-like shape. And this was called a triangular prism. That's because the opposite sides, the sides that don't touch, those give the shape. And so we found the volume of each, and this is a review of that before we move on to pyramids, which are slightly different. So why don't you pause the video and try number 4 and 5. These are off of a worksheet, that's why they're called 4 and 5. Why don't you just try them and see what you get, and then you can hit play and compare with me again. Okay, you hit play. What is the volume of the prism below? We're working on this right now. Remember, that is a rectangular prism, so we're going to do length times width times height. Plug in the numbers. 12 times 16 times 9. Doesn't matter which order they go in, because it's all just straight multiplication, right? 12 times 16 times 9, 1,728 inches cubed. Remember to put that cubed symbol, that is for volume, and that's our answer. There you go. Now this is a triangular prism. If we're trying to find, if it says how many cubic feet, that means they're asking for volume. So volume formula for this was length times width times height divided by 2. The triangle part of it gives it that divide by 2 as an extra step. Okay, how long the length? When you think about the length, you got to think out loud like this. How long is the shape? Which number here represents that? That would be the 16. That's how long it is. How wide is the shape? That would be the 5. And how tall is the shape? Right? It would be the 7. So you had to pick between the 7 and the 8.6. Come on and think about which number kind of logically represents the height. The 8.6 is a slanted side that has nothing to do with the height. So there we go. We've got our 3 numbers. We're going to do 16 times 5 times 7 divide by 2. I get 280 feet cubed. Okay, so that's going to be B. Okay, so that's how you do. This was a quick review of the last 2 days. That's how you do rectangular prisms and triangular. I hope you remember those two formulas, not the given formulas, but the length, width, and height formulas that I gave you as better options because they're much simpler. So really remember those guys, especially since they're not going to be on the formula chart. It's your responsibility to remember those. Now, moving on to pyramids. Pyramids have their own formula for volume. Again, it's a 3D shape, right? It's another type of 3D shape. So it's going to have volume, not area. And it has its own unique volume formula, and it's this. Yep, take a minute, freak yourself out by looking at this formula. What is all of this? Don't worry, I'm going to give you an easier one. But write these down because they are the given formulas. The first way we can write it is volume equals 1/3 big B, capital B, times height. Capital letter B stands for area of the base. Not just base, but area of the base. Another way of writing multiplying by 1/3, see this, is the same as saying dividing by 3. Both of these are one and the same. Just write both of these down. That way you will recognize them on the formula chart. But I'm going to give you a better one. You can thank me later. Write this instead. This is the one you're going to use. When it comes to pyramids, we're going to build off of, just like prisms, we're going to do length times width times height. But do you see how there's a 3 involved? We're going to divide by 3. And this is the formula for volume of pyramids, especially square and rectangular pyramids, which is what you're going to be working with in 7th grade. Okay, so this is what you have to remember. Keep that in mind because we're about to do some examples using that. Here we go. First, let's just talk about the parts of a pyramid. And how do you recognize a pyramid, and how is a pyramid different from a triangular prism? Pyramid has a pointy top. That's what makes it different. It has one single pointy top called the apex. All the sides are triangles rather than rectangles for a triangular prism. Let's see if I can draw a triangular prism real fast. There we go. Right, on a triangular prisms, you notice how the sides are rectangles, and here they are triangles. So that's another difference. The base is going to be either a square or a rectangle, usually. Sometimes there's some complicated pyramids that have a triangular base, but we're not going to be doing much with those. Okay, these are the parts of a pyramid. That way, when you see one, you recognize it. Let's solve for volume of this pyramid here in the picture. I even have the formula written out, and you should copy it down. You should always write the formula first, and that way we can just plug the numbers in and it's super easy from there. So 3 numbers. Length, what is the length of the pyramid? 12. Width, 12. Height, dotted line, 8. 12 times 12 times 8 divided by 3. Again, I apologize for my handwriting. 12 times 12 times 8, and then divide by 3. Okay, I should probably, let me just show all steps. So if I do 12 times 12, I get 144, and then 144 times 8, I get 1,152, and then I do the divide by 3 step, and I get 384 feet cubed still, the little 3, and that's your answer. Pretty simple, right? Pretty straightforward. Take the 3 numbers, plug them into the formula. Next one, find the volume. This is a rectangular pyramid because it's got a rectangular base. Doesn't matter, still follows the same formula, which is volume equals length times width times height divided by 3. Okay, length is 10, right? That's how long it is. Width is 4. That's how wide it is. And inside, they're showing us how tall it is, and that's 6. Divide by 3. So 10 times 4 is 40. 40 times 6 is 240. And then divided by 3, that's going to be 80 meters cubed. Okay. And the last one. Maybe you can pause the video and try to do this yourself, and then you can hit play and work it out with me after. Okay, another pyramid. There's some extra lines and extra numbers, but don't get confused. This is the base, and the base is what we will use to get the length and the width, right? So the length, well, volume equals length times width times height divided by 3. Length is 20. Width is 20. Now we have a couple of numbers here to pick from for height. Which number? Do you think it's the 16.4, or do you think it's the 13 that represents how tall this pyramid is from top to bottom? That means from the point all the way down. Do you think it's that dotted line in the middle, or that slanted line just off to the side? It's going to be the dotted line. right? This is the line that represents tip to bottom, top to bottom, or the apex as we call it. That is the whole height, the real height of the pyramid. So there's our numbers plugged in, divided by 3, of course. 20 times 20, 20 times 20 times 13. That is going to be 5,200 at the top, divided by 3. It's a repeating decimal, 1733.333 repeating. We'll just stop it right there. Meters squared. Okay. Volume of pyramids. To summarize, it's a 3D shape with a pointy top. Now that's a pyramid. There is a formula that normally the chart gives to you, the formula chart. That is one of these. It's something for you just to recognize it, not be completely like, don't be a complete stranger to it. But I do prefer that you use the simple, straightforward length times width times height divided by 3. From there, we did a handful of examples. If you understood these examples, if you were able to on your own get those answers as well, that means you understand. Okay, so watch any parts of the video that you need to. In order to make things click, always email or message me any questions that you may have. Thank you, and I will see you all next time.